Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
So I am to talk about developing an environment of relationship, of harmony through education. The priority is with right understanding as top priority, then with relationship, and the third one of physical facility. And by right understanding, we mean understanding the harmony. So we talked a little bit about the human being very briefly, and now I'll be talking a little bit about harmony in the family. So we have our independent small families, but as our circle of influence gets bigger and wider, we become a larger family and a larger family. So for instance, the work that we are all doing in human values, the people doing it, we are part of the UHV family. So we'll talk about relationships in family. We said that physical facility is necessary, but relationship is also necessary. And we asked this question of all of you, that where is the unhappiness more in our homes, in our families? And it became clear from your raised hands that more of the problem lies with fulfillment in relationship. But that's not where we are working. So to live with fulfillment in relationship, we want to work on relationship. But in order to work on relationship, first and foremost, do we understand relationship? Because if we don't understand it, how are we going to fulfill it? So we all may have this experience that we want the whole family to be happy. We want to be happy. We want to have everybody in the institution, in our families happy. And sometimes we may even feel that we compromise our own happiness in order to make others happy. How many of us feel that way? That sometimes we compromise our own happiness so that others in the family can be happy. Sometimes some members of the family may feel that we are the cause of their unhappiness. We live together in the family, we are working together in the institution for many, many years. And yet sometimes others don't listen to us. Sometimes we feel they don't understand me. Does it happen with us? So we do want to stay calm and composed. We don't want to fight. We don't want to get angry. But what happens? We do get angry, don't we? Yes. We argue. We fight. Of course, it may be that by the evening or the next day we say sorry, we won't fight again. But then again it happens. So why is this happening? Even if you look at academic leaders, the reports suggest that 30 to 70% of their time goes in resolving disharmony in relationships. So let's try to understand this harmony in relationship. So basically what you can see is that as a human being, I am self and body. The body is just the part that we see in the mirror every morning. But the essence of the human being is the consciousness or the self. And you will see that what is really required for the self is right understanding in the self. And with that understanding of relationships and having relationships with human beings. While the physical facility is just going to help in the need of the body. So let's talk about relationship. There are some statements I'm going to put before you and we'll explore them. So first statement is relationship is. Relationship is already there. We don't have to create it, we don't have to make it. It's already there and it is between oneself and another self. The body is being used to express the relationship. So if I want to express my relationship with a child, I may use the body to hug the child and so on. But the relationship is between oneself and another self. Then this statement that there are feelings in relationship. Feelings are in the self, in oneself, for the other self. Third statement we are putting across is that we can actually recognize these feelings. They are definite feelings. So some of these feelings that we can recognize in relationship, feelings that are naturally acceptable to all of us. So we've listed down these feelings. We'll be talking only about the first feeling mentioned here, trust, which is the foundation value. But once we attend the workshop, we will be discussing each and every one of these feelings. So the feelings can be recognized, they are definite. When I fulfill these feelings from my side, I feel happy. When I express this feeling to the other, and I see that the feeling has reached the other also feels happy. So ultimately there is mutual happiness. So this is what we need to discuss a little bit more about in relationship, is the feelings. So like I said, we'll be talking about one feeling, the foundational value, trust. So we call it the foundational value because just like the foundation in a building cannot stand up tall and stay sustained without the foundation. Same way, a relationship cannot move forward unless the foundation of trust is strong. So what is trust? Trust is to be assured. To be assured of what? To be assured, to have this clarity that the other wants to make me happy and prosperous. So what we'll do here now is we will explore the feeling of trust between two people. Consider yourself as one person of the two people and consider the other person as somebody who is close to you. It could be a family member, it could be a colleague, it could be a close friend, a relative, whoever. So now we are evaluating trust between two individuals. You are one of those individuals and somebody very close to you is the other individual that you are evaluating trust. I want to make myself happy. I want to make the other happy. The other wants to make himself or herself happy. The other wants to make me happy. Now let's look at our competence, our ability. So we all want to make ourselves happy. We said yes. How about our ability? Am I able to make myself always happy? Am I able to make the other always happy? The other is able to make herself or himself always happy? Is the other able to make me always happy? When we look at our natural acceptance, we can see that we want to make the other happy, right? We want to make ourselves happy and the other happy. But when it comes to the other making me happy, now there is a question mark. So this question mark, this is causing some issues. Now what happens? Supposing I have a glass in my hand and it breaks. What do I say? Oops, it fell down. It broke by accident. What happens if the same thing happens with the other? You broke the glass. Can you see the difference? Do we make this change in our tone of voice sometimes? I come late to work and I say, you know, I got late again. I would have reached on time. This traffic is so bad. The other person comes late. Whether I say it to that person or not, it's going on in me. He's come late again. Always a late comer. Now he'll make some excuse. Does it happen sometimes? I go to boil the milk. I'm standing in front of the gas. The milk boils over. And I say, Arey, I was there only. I don't know what happened, and the milk boiled over. So meaning, it happened by accident. My spouse goes to boil the milk, and he's there, and I see it boiling, and I say, "Arey, what are you doing? Can't you see? Now you spilled all the milk." Can you see the difference? Does this happen with us sometimes? Yes? So what's happening is that even if I make the same mistake 100 times, I'm very sure about my intention. I'm very sure that it was a mistake. I didn't intend it to happen. So what I'm saying is the mistake happened by accident. I didn't mean it. So I feel, okay, I'm right. I'm doing the right thing. I'm not at fault here. I tried to do the right thing. It happened by mistake. Once I reinforce this, I don't make effort to change because I think the problem is not with me. But if the other makes a mistake even once, I start doubting his intention. I think that the other has made the mistake intentionally. So I have a feeling of opposition. I get irritated. I get angry. And I'm telling myself, this person is beyond repair. Nothing can be done. He's too bad. So how many times we feel that about our students? When the student is not understanding, or maybe the student is busy on the phone, what do we say? We say, he doesn't want to understand. So if we see this kind of doubt on intention, this doubt on intention is a major reason why there are problems in relationships. So I was just yesterday or day before, somebody who called me mentioned that there's a lot of problem in the relationship. So I said, what happened? She wanted to discuss something, so I said, okay, go ahead, what is the problem? So she said, my husband doesn't want to talk to me anymore. I said, what seems to be the issue? She said, I don't know, every time I say I want to talk, he makes some excuse, he goes away. I say I want to spend some time, he doesn't want to spend time. He says, why don't you go to your mother? Or whatever, he doesn't want to be with me. So I tried to ask, was it always like this? So no, it was not like this. Then what has changed? She couldn't think much about it. And then I said, is it possible that meaning you, might have made some mistakes in the past that might have hurt him? Then she paused and she thought about it and she said, well, maybe it's possible. We did have some arguments, and I did say some harsh things. So I said then, do you think he really doesn't want to talk to you, or he's afraid that he will be hurt again, so he's trying to avoid that hurt? So maybe he's not able to talk to you? So she was able to see how she was doubting the intention rather than seeing it as a lack of ability, that somewhere our competence also may be lacking. So I think many a times we don't see this and we cause problems in our relationships. So why this is happening? Because when it comes to our natural acceptance, we are very clear. I want to do the right thing. I want to make the other happy. There's no problem there. But when we go to evaluate the other's intention, we are not actually evaluating that intention. We are seeing their behavior. And we are seeing that the other is not able to make himself or herself happy, or at least there is a doubt about that. The other is not able to make me happy. I'm doubtful about that. And that question mark I drag from this ability part, bring it to the intention part and say, he doesn't want to make me happy. So very often this is the problem. This doubt on intention, this is mistrust. I am not assured that the other wants to make me happy. I feel that the other intentionally hurt me, that the other didn't care about me. This is a problem. But once we have trust in the other, once we have clarity that just like my natural acceptance, the other's natural acceptance is the same. Once that clarity is there, then it becomes now crystal clear that the other also wants to make me happy, just like I want to make the other happy, because the natural acceptance is the same for both of us. On the other hand, now when I look at the ability, I evaluate the other's ability and I evaluate my ability. And with this, now I get a clear picture that even I can't make myself happy most of the time. So the other is like me. So once I have trust on intention, now when I talk about the other, it is the same way like I talk about myself. If the other has a glass, it breaks, I say it's okay. The glass broke by accident. You didn't intend to do it. So now you can see that with that, I start making effort to improve my own competence wherever it's lacking. I also don't doubt the intention of the other. I'm very clear about the intention of the other being good. Only problem is the other may lack competence, in which case I can help the other improve the competence. So this trust on intention, this is the starting point for mutual development. So once I have trust on intention, I accept the other. Once I accept the other as he is, I start listening to the other. I start having concern for the other. And I discuss very freely, try to help the other in any way that I can. And where I am concerned, I stop complaining about others. I start seeing my role, what I can do to help the other. So this trust on intention, this is the foundation of relationship. Just to share an example, there was a lady who used to attend some of the workshops, or she had just attended the workshop, and then on the last day of the workshop, she was sharing her experiences. So she mentioned that she used to be very short-tempered with her children. She would shout at her children, get angry with the children. And the other day, after the workshop, she went home, she was preparing dinner, and the children were playing in the hall. And they happened to be playing with a ball. And the ball hit the window pane and the glass broke and shattered. And she says, I went into a fury. Here I am cooking, and these people are troubling me, they are causing all these problems. So she just barged out, marching, wanting to, slap them or something like that. And she said, while I was walking, I slowed down. And this trust on intention, this came back to me. And so then my anger subsided, and I walked there. I asked the children to move aside. I cleared the window pane, the shattered glass. I told them to put on their shoes so they don't get hurt. And she had 3 children. So she said, the youngest one, or the middle one, he was very surprised and he was looking. I think they were waiting for the explosion to happen, which didn't happen. And so he asked, Mummy, you're not going to beat us? You're not going to shout? And then the little one said, she's attending some workshop, new workshop. She's not getting so angry now. This was her experience that she shared. It's just a little bit of awareness. I'm not saying that this is something new. This is traditionally knowledge that is known to us, but somewhere we have forgotten. So sometimes we need some sort of reminders. So this trust on intention, this leads to the foundation in relationship. Now, if we have unconditional, continuous trust on intention, then, and the other person is lacking in competence, what would you do? You have 4 choices. Would you try to improve the competence and also improve our own competence? Or would you get irritated, angry, have feeling of opposition? What is it? A, B, C, or D? Can I hear it louder? A. So it's very obvious, right? This is when we have trust on intention. Then we respond to other people, we respond to situations. However, when we doubt the intention, then we may be doing any of these other things, getting irritated, angry, feeling of opposition. We are reacting to the other person, to the situation. Now, the question that we need to reflect on is, how many persons in our family and friends do we have trust on intention that is unconditional and that is continuous? What that means is, in our family and friends, how many people are there with whom I never ever, even for a moment, have irritation, anger, opposition? Meaning, it is continuous. My trust is continuous. It is not based on any condition that if they take care of this, then I will have trust. So without that condition, how many people do we have trust on intention? We can just reflect on this. We don't have to answer it, but it is important for us to continue that dialogue within us and check for ourselves. That's a very honest answer. I heard the answer, no one. That's true. Many of us may be feeling that within us, that this is not the way we want to be. But this is what we are today. However, we can make that change happen. So this is fundamental. Trust on intention, this is the foundation of relationship. And as we understand relationship better, then we start comparing apples to apples. We check our natural acceptance, we check the natural acceptance of the other. When we evaluate competence, we evaluate our own competence and the competence of the other. So now, if the other lacks competence, I will help the other. If the other has more competence than me, I'll be willing to learn from the other. Therefore, we grow mutually in our competence. If we look from a student-teacher perspective, how about trust in students and in teachers? So for a student, trust would be that he wants to be happy, to have this feeling in him that he wants to prepare himself for a fulfilling life. For that, he needs to understand, he wants to learn, he needs to practice. And about the teacher, to have this feeling that the teacher intends my well-being, is interested in my learning, my understanding, and is trying to help me get there. For the teacher to have the feeling of trust means to have this feeling that the other also wants to be happy, that every student wants to understand, every student wants to learn, every student wants a fulfilling life. And I want to make the other happy. So I need to develop my competence, do whatever is necessary so that I can help the other understand, so that I can help the other practice, so that he can have a fulfilling life. So this would be an implication of trust in teacher and student. So for the teacher, especially to have feelings of affection, feeling of guidance. For the student to have respect and gratitude, glory for the teacher who is making so much effort. Let's look at these 2 classrooms. In both classrooms, classroom A and classroom B, teacher is technically very competent. In classroom A, however, teacher doesn't have feeling of trust and respect. In classroom B, the teacher has the feeling of trust and respect. Now let me ask you some of these questions. In which class do you think the teacher will be able to give affectionate attention to all students, even the weaker students? Classroom A or B? B. In which class will the students be more comfortable in understanding? A or B? B. In which class will the students be more helpful? In which class will they help each other and the teacher? B. Which class will produce better human beings? B. Which class will the teacher be motivated to develop himself further? B. Which class would parents like to send their children? B. Which classroom would we want in our own institutions? B. So there we have it. If we doubt the intention of the students, we lack clarity of the potential of every student, that every student has the same potential. But if we have trust, we are clear about the intention of the students, we are clear that every child has the potential to reach that place. So these are the other feelings, I'll not go into them. There's a little lack of time. Now going beyond this, beyond the family, if we see as we extend our circle of influence, our family grows bigger and bigger. So like for the UHV team, we call it the UHV family. At the level of society, when all human beings have a common goal, a common human goal, you can have a bigger, wider societal family. And education is the fundamental program to fulfill this common human goal.